The EIA is projected that there will be an 84% increase in solar installations in the US over the next 2 years. Greenhouse gas emissions for the first time worldwide have declined in 2023. And while solar is booming nationwide, there have been a record number of bankruptcies for solar installation companies. I'm Jay Warmke with Blue Rock Station, and this is the news from the solar industry for the week of January 14th. All right, well, the U.S. Energy Industry Association projects an 84% growth over the next 2 years in the area of solar. Now, this continues a trend really that's been going on since 2009, where we've seen year-on-year annual growth of around 44% each year. Now, it projects further that the amount of energy in the U.S. generated from solar will grow from this year, it's around 4%. It will grow to about 7% in 2 years. And it also projects that solar will overtake hydro as one of as the renewable energy generating source in 2024. Coal is continue its decline, expecting to fall by another 19% as far as electrical generation. And actually, they're projecting that about a 26% decline in the mining of coal within the U.S. over the next 2 years. Now, since 2009, coal's share of the electric generation mix has fallen from about 45% down to about 18%. Now, while the new generation from solar continues to rise pretty rapidly, generation from natural gas is also remaining strong. Now, generation on the electrical grid from natural gas rose from 37% in 2019, now representing about 42% of all of the generating capacity on the grid in 2023. Now, most of this growth has been at the expense of coal as a generating resource. EIA states that much of this increase has been due to the relatively low cost of natural gas compared to how it's been over the years, but they anticipate that natural gas prices are going to rise, so they're really looking that this growth in natural gas generating capacity will slow over the next several years. Greenhouse gas emissions worldwide did decline in 2023 for the first time, but they've been in decline in the United States really since 2007 when they hit their high mark. A lot of this is due to the fact, as we've been mentioning, that coal power plants are being retired. That was a major emitter of greenhouse gases. The U.S. saw a 1.9% decline in 2023, despite an economic growth rate of about 2.5% during that same time period. EIA projects that this decline will actually, however, need to triple to about 6.9% to meet the 2030 goals that were set in the Paris Climate Accord. Now, the decline in greenhouse gases in the U.S. was led by the electrical generating industry with about an 8% reduction there. But that only represents about 25% of the overall greenhouse gas emitting activities. And there continue to be increases in emissions from the transportation as well as the industry sectors. Now, while solar is booming nationwide, we've seen a lot of small contractors going out of business in 2023. A company that deals with commercial warranties for solar projects, this is Solar Insure, reported that there were over 100 solar installer companies that went bankrupt in 2023. The issues that led to these bankruptcies were primarily higher interest rates, which really escalated the cost of projects, as well as rising permits. And then the big one was California's changes in net metering rules that led to about a 22% decline in the workforce in that state. Now, the California Public Utilities Commission passed Net Metering 3.0. It lowered net metering compensation by over 70%. Now, this is part of a trend that's going on where these public utility commissions are siding with the utilities to try and essentially shut down distributed energy through solar. Similar policies have been adopted in Indiana and North Carolina, and other states are looking for similar policies to be enacted through their public utilities commissions. Now, forecasts for community solar are looking good, according to Wood Mackenzie. They project an 11% year-on-year increase over the next 5 years. Now, community solar is essentially a large solar project that, rather than putting a lot of small systems on people's homes, you build a large project and then sell portions of that to homeowners. Now, in order for this to work, it does require that the utilities cooperate and deal with the billing process. And in order for utilities to cooperate, they basically have to be told to by the state legislature, who forces them to participate in this process. Now, currently only about 22 states and the District of Columbia have favorable community solar policies. However, there are some legislations in Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania that are on the agenda to perhaps see community solar in those states. And of course, a lot of this is being driven by incentives that are in the Inflation Reduction Act, as well as a new funding program from the EPA called Solar for All. And that's the news from the solar industry for this week. We'll see you next week.